Brothers and sisters, Mrs. and Misters, dented cans and loyal fans, welcome to the Dented Cast, the Dented Cast. That's what it is. My name is Dobie Maxwell, flanked by my partner, Mr. Max Bumgardner, tan down in Florida, looking mighty surf boyish there, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of bike riding by the sea and walking, listening to podcasts, and life's good, man.
Hopefully ours is one that you listen to. We're winding down for this segment of our podcast. We agreed when we started we were going to do 100 episodes, and we are rapidly approaching that. And I'm proud of both of us because people say they're going to do this, they're going to do that, but we did it, buddy. Congratulations.
Yep. And I will say congratulations. I'll say a heartfelt thank you to you because, like me, I can't point a finger at you, Dobie, and say that you get involved in too many things and then don't finish anything without saying that would be me as well. You kept your word to me, and I appreciate that. The only time that you missed a taping of this show was when your brother Larry went to be with the Lord, and you were like, "Hey, man, I'm really sorry. You know, I gotta go do this." And buddy, you were sorry about that. You know, and that was the only time. That was the only time. Otherwise, you've been 100% accountable.
Well, as of you and you, we do appreciate that. Now, we were going through the alphabet. If you're a regular viewer of the show, that's great. And if you're not, it's okay because we're going to stop for a while. So you have plenty of episodes to go, almost 100. Our next one will be 100. But today we go through the alphabet. We didn't have a V word, and today's V word is victim. Some people play the victim role, brother.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, and for Dented Cans especially, I've done a lot of research on this for myself because there have been times for myself where I have used my past or maybe my upbringing as a reason for how I act today. And that is, you know, I have children. That's where we're different. And that's never a valid reason. And it took me a long time to figure that out. It's never a valid reason to perpetuate poor behavior. So just because you were treated improperly, it doesn't give you a free pass to treat others improperly. And that's a hard lesson for a lot of people to learn and wrap their mind around. And then they might say, well, I don't know any different. And unfortunately, that's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to figure out what is the correct way to treat folks, kids, family, wife, everything.
Don't you know when it's wrong? It feels wrong. This is not, I knew as a little kid, this is not right. And then I sat with my father when I was 31, and he said, you know what? Your grandpa who you worship, I thought he was an asshole. And you know what? All these years later, I turned right around, did the same thing to you kids. Isn't that funny? I said, nope, not a damn funny thing about it.
Right.
So you're right. How do you get out of that rut and go? I mean, that's a lot of effort required there to do that. So this is not how it is. I am going to do it correctly.
Well, I did it wrong. My figure the way out, because as you know, we were on the radio in Chicago and we got permission. I actually got permission because we all had contracts with our employer there at the Loop in Chicago. And I got permission to go on the that show that was based in Chicago with a female who's media
very
mogul.
rich.
Yeah. But also a good person. I really do believe that. I know she's a polarizing individual and people don't feel the same way, but I feel like she's a good person. Anyway, we had to get permission. I went on that show and I admitted in front of 10.3 million people that there were times that I was a monster in my own house. And if I had that to do over again, I wouldn't go on national television and say that. Instead, I would go get the help that I needed. And, you know, the help that came from that, a lot of therapy that was with cameras rolling, was that I have an anxiety issue, that I have always had an anxiety issue. It's not that I'm a mean person or evil person. It's not that I am purposely abusive or demonic or like the serial killers that you talked about last week in last week's episode. It's more that I don't know how to handle stress. And so I just freak out. And that was comforting knowing that. But then it was like, okay, well, how do I deal with that? And that's why I have turned to my men's group. That's a Christian-based men's group that I meet with every Saturday morning at 7:00. That's why I still read the Bible and all these other journaling. That's why I ride the bike, all of those things, because I'm trying to alleviate the anxiety. And Dobie, I'm not BSing when I tell you that I stick to that stuff, and I like religiously. So,
buddy, one thing you are not is a BSer. We've been around BSers in the entertainment business our whole lives, and you're not that. I think sometimes the things we talk about tend to be a bit real for some people, but you can't tell me that somebody that's watching this at any time in history, this could be 50 years from when we're recording it, doesn't have anxiety issues and doesn't have the same problems. So I'm just saying, speak it, brother. You're human, and that's part of the human condition that some of us, not everybody, some of us has to deal with.
Well, the problem is and there's probably people, maybe one or two people that'll watch this and go, really? No, Jack, but I made other people uncomfortable because of my anxiety. Hell, I made you uncomfortable. You worked with me, and we've been buddies now for over 15 years. And there were times when you're like, dude, what are you? Just calm down. What is your problem? You've seen that.
You know what? I guess I didn't understand it. I have many other problems, buddy. I don't claim to be problem free, but that's not one of them. Maybe sometimes, as a dented can, if someone is not on the wavelength and it's saying the same, like alcoholism, you could put every booze bottle in the city in front of me. I wouldn't take one sip. It's not a temptation. It's not thing. It's not better than anybody. That's one thing I don't have to worry about, but millions do. That's why I like when we talk about stuff like this, because I can learn from you. Yeah, I dealt with it, but I never not liked Max the guy, and neither did our other partners.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
It was a little speed bump.
Well, the anxiety issue was real, and it's so small. Like last week, we talked about whatever you feed grows, whatever you starve dies. I don't have the same problems that I had even 5 years ago. I don't have the same problems I had even a year ago. I remember saying, my wife and I talked about it, and we just wanted to leave our environment. We wanted to get out of our jobs, and we wanted to go see the world and start our own stuff. And that's exactly what we did. And that's very scary. But so far, man, it's been absolutely the best decision we've ever made, ever.
And I think I got another buddy of mine that went to Florida. He's a professional wrestler, as we say. He's the Texas Hangman. And I said, why do you call yourself the Texas Hangman? You're not from Texas. Because the Wisconsin Hangman doesn't sound nearly as fierce. It's like, he's got a point there. So right. His name is my good friend. I've known him longer than I've known you, and I've known you a long time. And his whole thing was he was going to move to Tampa. And he wanted to go to Florida, and a lot of the wrestlers lived down there. And what should I do? And we went out to eat, and it was a sleety, nasty, slimy winter day. I said, you can always come back to all this. Yeah. I said, if you don't like it down in Florida, I will pay your way back to Wisconsin. And you can. He was a security guard, and his life was miserable, and he broke up with his girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. He's been down there, I think, 22 years now. I just talked to him recently. And I said, hey, that round trip ticket is, still available if you want to come back. He goes, it was the best thing I ever did. I can't believe I had anxiety, and I it's the best decision I ever made. So same thing with you. Best decision you ever made. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it, man. That's why we're here.
Right. Don't wait. Do it. So we were talking about the goal of this show was victim. Title of the show is Victim. So I told you that I used to use my upbringing as an excuse for my behavior. And I did that as an excuse for like an anxiety outburst or like a mental breakdown. And it's not valid. It's not valid. And I don't get a free pass to treat people poorly. That's not ever okay. And so if there's somebody watching this and you are guilty of saying, I'm sorry, that's just the way I am, because stop right there. You're the way you are because you're choosing to be that way. Be really, really clear on that, because until you're really, really clear on that, nothing's going to change in your life. Nothing will change in your life. And your relationships will always be tumultuous. They'll always be tentative. It won't be a situation where you get together with people and they feel at ease to be around you. That's the one lesson that I've learned. I mean, you have anything to add to that, Dobie?
No, it's just easier said than done because your mind automatically goes there. The thing about being a dented can that is so difficult is it's like wet cement. we're getting, people riding bikes and putting handprints in our wet cement as children from people that we were thought to trust, but totally crapped on us. So the first reaction, because it's so conditioned, is to go back there and say, yeah, I am the victim. This happened. Oh, my life stinks. It's all over with. Well, it is all over with, but what you said is absolutely true. It takes extra effort to make that choice to not habitually go back into the toilet.
Right.
And be a victim.
Right. And then, so like a victim mindset, there's all kinds of stuff online about a victim mindset. And I know that I have been guilty of having a victim mindset. Maybe somebody watching, I'm going to read these bullet points here that I found online. And when you hear these, it was hard for me to hear some of these because it's like, oh, ouch, that's too close to home for me. But listen to some of these, okay?
Okay.
So it's normal to be unsatisfied in some parts of your life, but it's important to look at the bigger picture. If you notice similar patterns across different areas of your life, you may have a victim mentality. The first step to solving a problem is to identify and acknowledge it, like we already talked about. Look for these signs in yourself to see if you might have adopted a victim mentality. And I'll put these in the show notes, by the way. Number one, you blame others for the way your life is. I've done that.
Boy, yeah.
Yep.
Me too.
And I've got, family members that I know do that exact same thing. Number two, you truly think life is against you. That's number two. Number three, you have trouble coping with problems in your life and feel powerless against them. Number four, you feel stuck in life and approach things with a negative attitude. Number five, you feel attacked when someone tries to offer helpful feedback. Number six, feeling bad for yourself gives you relief or pleasure. Number six, you attract people who blame others and complain about their life with you. Number seven, it's difficult for you to examine yourself and make changes. For me, personally, that was hard to read. And
it was hard to hear.
Okay. And then it says how to stop being a victim. It goes on and on and on. This particular article, victim mentality is a learned behavior. In other words, it's not something you were born with. It's something you learned as a product of your social environment. And we have done many episodes on what it was like to be in a dented can household and all of the reasons why. The heavy lifting, though, if you want to have a happy ending, and we did a mini episode on happy endings and a full length episode. And we're not talking, trying to be funny happy endings, but real happy endings like the end. And I'm happy as I take my last breath. That is possible for all of us. It really is. But the heavy lifting in this instance is you have to really be in touch with, do I have this mindset? And is it still holding me back? We're in our 50s. There could be viewers that are older and stuff.
I don't think it's ever going to go away totally for any dented can. I just don't think it can. There is a scar there, Scarface. Those scars heal, but the scar is still there. Whether we choose to, notice it when you look in the mirror or some of that, it's never going to go away fully. It just isn't. Rodney Dangerfield, my comedy hero, talked about depression, and he said, he goes, it stays with you right till the end.
And your grandmother, before she was on her deathbed, she said, what'd she say to you? I remember you telling me that. She said it never goes away, right?
Yeah. Yep, never goes. She didn't tell me that on her deathbed, but yeah, she did tell me that. It never goes away. But she had a coming of age. She really turned things around, and then she lost her mind to dementia. But she had about a 2 or 3 year period when it was, wow, I saw the little girl that probably never existed. And she was in her 80s at that particular time.
Right.
She figured it out. And if we haven't, I'm going to repeat something. It's called Grandma's Window Theory. I might have said this in another episode, and I'm going to say it again. If you want to watch all 100 episodes and tell me we repeated material, windshield wipers coming your way. But Grandma talked about you walk through life, and you walk, and there's a giant window that is closing the entire time you're walking through life. And it's our job to get underneath and through that window before it closes completely and shuts us off. And you figure things out in life. And some people, the window closes and you don't get through. She said, that was me. My window closed. I didn't get through. She said, you made it through. Took you a while. You had a rough road, but you made it through there. Now, after you make it through that window, it becomes a race against the clock to see what you can do with that knowledge. And she said, I wish you well. I miss mine. You got yours. I never heard it described like that. I know she didn't read it in a book. She kind of made up her own theory, and it was dead on. And I try to spread it to as many people as I can. Hopefully all of us will make it through that window and then have the race against the clock. It's a limited amount of time, limited amount of energy. What good we're doing this little podcast that's listened to by 100 people, but there's nothing that can be said. It won't be listened to by 1 million people 10, 20, 50 years from now.
Right.
It's pure. Our energy is pure in what we're doing.
Right. You could be right, and you probably are right when you say you don't think it goes away, because I don't think that we ever will forget. But as we've said in other shows, I do think it's important to forgive. I do think that's important. Forgive. And I think once we can do that, and that's a tough one for people. And I feel like the inability to forgive keeps you in the pain. And I feel like the pain keeps you in that mindset that we're talking about. And I feel like it doesn't stop until you consciously say, enough, I'm done. I'm not going to think that way anymore. You might still have the memories and you might still say, yeah, that was then, but it's up to us to replace it with other stuff. I mean, I really do believe that. For me personally, that's what's working right now. That's what's working for me right now.
Well, it takes effort. And like I say, life is the sum total of our choices. To choose the people we go through the life with. Just because someone is in our family does not mean that it's a compatible match.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, but it's our choice who we spend our time with, what direction we go, what we do. And you're doing a great job on so many levels, man. And you inspire me. Hopefully our show inspires someone else. We have some regular viewers, we do, and I get emails, and I know you do too. Hey guys, you spoke to me this time.
Good.
Well, I think we do get that. And again, we're not doctors. We don't claim to be hot shit, cold shit, medium temperature room shit. Right. We're just jamokes trying to make it through life. Shit. Seriously though, we're trying to make it through life, and it's not always going to go well, but man, I'm proud of you, dude. You made some great progress, and I know I have too, even in this past year.
Yeah, you too, man. You too. And you're doing some good things. And we'll go ahead and wrap it up right here. We've got the last episode, at least for a while, coming up 1 week from today. So we hope that you'll watch it. And if you see this one and have something that you'd like us to talk about, please send us an email or comment on this one. We'll see it. And we'll try to help you out there with your request. And Dobie, what's your show? I know it's been going fantastic. You've got the hat on, but we can't really see it. But
yeah, the hat on. It's called the Just My Type podcast. It's about diabetes, type 1 or type 2. If you know, love around somebody that has diabetes, tune us in. And we try to be entertaining, educational, and engaging. Exactly what we're trying to do here. So I really appreciate the plug. It came out of nowhere, and I couldn't be more grateful for it, man. It's changing my life in a physical way. This one is changing my life in a spiritual way. So I'm not the total useless piece of garbage that my father said I was. So right there, Pops, get the windshield wipers wherever you are.
Yeah. Well, I listened to a podcast today from James Altucher, who had Tony Robbins and Peter Diamandis on. And it was about all of the new things that are coming with modern medicine. And I'm not kidding you. I think I just put a new goal. I've always had a goal of living to 100. But I think I'm going to bump it up a little bit. I think I'm going to go 110. I think I'm going to raise the stakes and go 110.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I'll put the book in the show notes too, because it's worth a read. And that's all I got, man.
You're Felix. I'm Oscar. We're the odd couple of whack.
Yeah.
I love you, buddy.
Love you too, man. See you later.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.